the devil works hard, but Psaki works harder. Hey guys, welcome back to the best channel on YouTube. To my subscribers. I'm talking like OG subscribers. I have kind of strayed here and there from the whole topic of politics in general, and I feel like you deserve to know why. I guess I've been sick the last few weeks, but also I feel like, okay, there's a lot going on, but at the same time, in a realistic way, I feel like there's nothing to talk about. And what I mean by that is I don't want to sit every single time I make a video and just bash Biden and bash this person, bash that person. Like, do they deserve it? Yes, but like, I feel like I'd just be saying the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. Like, I don't want to be repetitive because that's not fun for me to make and probably not fun for anybody to watch. Like, as of right now, the border crisis is like a major topic in the news. I've been talking about that since what, the first fucking week he was in office? Like, how much more can I say until something changes? Inflation's up. That's, you know, been talked about everywhere by everybody. That's a very just like monotonous topic, just so like, it can be very boring. I don't know how to make fucking inflation sound interesting. I'm sorry, I just don't. I don't. Like, Afghanistan happened, that, you know, was a topic for a while, but I guess Biden just doesn't give a shit. Americans that are left there, he doesn't give a shit if they live or die. I feel like that's established. Not much more I could say on that. The overall projection of the country isn't good right now, and to say that over and over and over again is not what I want to do. Honestly, when I first made my YouTube channel, I was kind of anticipating like Trump would be president and shit would be interesting.
Do you miss me yet? Do you?
That clearly is not how things played out. About once a week, I make sure I listen to Psaki through a whole press briefing. Just like I used to do when it was Kayleigh McEnany and when it was, what was her name? Sarah Sanders? I think her name's Sarah. Isn't she running for some position now in some state? She's running for something somewhere. That was so vague and I just sounded so dumb. I listened to Psaki enough to want to punch her. You wonder, at least I did, how did she get to this position? Because for someone who seems like such just a fucking, oh god, just life-sucking, fucking energy-draining, condescending cunt. Like, I don't know why she would have this role. As a person who tries to make, you know, everything sound kind of better. She's not good at her job. At all. So I was sitting there and I was like, instead of sitting here wondering, Sam, why doesn't your dumbass just look it up? So that's what I did. I can smoke again, so here we go. Just like old times. Initially, this was not a video I was gonna make. It's just, I'm someone who, like, if I wonder something, like if I have some kind of question and I'm like, I can't just figure it out, I find it out. That way I fucking know, because it will bother me that I literally have access to information but just like chose not to use it. I don't know. I don't think I'm like smart, like day to day I'm not like a smart person, but like I have knowledge of like a lot of stuff that people don't, just because I do look into a lot of shit when I have a question about it, if that makes sense. So this was not initially going to be like a video I did, but then I ran into the problem that happens a lot when I do make my YouTube videos, when I'm trying to find clips of things I know I saw or heard or I know people talked about. Like I remember certain things, and then you go to search for it, and because Google, aka the super villain of the world, basically bought YouTube, a lot of times when you search things that go like against the narrative or are about like someone we're not supposed to like, you have a hard time like finding certain things. So I went to Google and I was like just looking up like certain prominent years in Psaki's career, and so I went to Google, I typed them in like I normally do, like to get a more specific answer, more relevant to what the fuck I'm actually looking for. Nothing. Absolutely fucking nothing. And hopefully when trying to find some of these things that I'm going to talk about, like, I'll be able to find some kind of reference to them. And even on her Wikipedia page, which I know Wikipedia is not like a reliable source, but usually there's like quite a bit of shit about the most mundane people. I mean, there's the bare minimum on hers, and it's like, where the fuck did she come from? And why is she so fucking evil?
Threatening.
So as we know, she currently is the White House press secretary, and she does a horrible job at her job. Like fucking awful. She's been a meme. You know, you're really fucking shit at your job when the internet's that quick to find something that memeable about you. Anyways, she is actually only the 34th press secretary, so I don't know. I'll probably have to look it up now because now the question just popped in my head. There's been more presidents in that, so like, was that something that came on later on? It must have been, right? I doubt it was like, the White House was just like, no, we don't fucking want you. It probably just came on later, right? The first time she had any kind of like substantial or relevant position in anything was in 2004. She had the role of deputy press secretary for John Kerry's presidential campaign that year. She worked on both Obama campaigns as deputy press secretary. She was a fucking bitch through both of them. And when I'm done explaining all this, I'll put in like a bunch of clips. She became the White House deputy communications director from 2009 to 2011. And again, how can someone who comes off so horribly be put on these positions of communicating well? It makes no fucking sense to me. Like, who is she and why do people hire her? Like, does she have something on them? Does she have dirt on them? Or is she playing a major role and I just don't see it?
New World Order or something?
She's unsettling to me. She's very uncomfortable to watch. 2013, she became the spokesperson for the United States Department of State up until 2015. And then she became the White House Communications Director from 2015 to 2017. And after that, she became a political contributor for, where of all places, but CNN. So if you think you've seen her face before and you couldn't remember where, it was probably there, her saying some dumb shit. All she does is lie, and she's so fucking like, I guess Kayleigh McEnany was biased too and like didn't hide it, but I see more reason, and like, it feels off. It's all so off-putting to have the president lie to you, the vice president lie to you, Nancy Pelosi lies to you, fucking Chuck Schumer lies to you, all these people lying, and the White House press secretary. The thing she's actually had the audacity to come out and say, the woman is the devil. And it's not just because she has red hair, it's because when she's getting berated by somebody, she's like, and that shit is unnerving. So if you know anything more than that, because that's literally all I could fucking find, if you know things that like maybe just happened and I don't remember, or literally was just like a kid, so I didn't fucking pay attention these times, and she did something else, like anything, please share it in the comments. I would appreciate it. I want to know why the fuck this bitch was so loved by Obama. Fucking John Kerry. Ugh, I
hate that man.
John Kerry, just every time he opens his mouth, he looks stupid and sounds stupid, and the words he's speaking are stupid. That just sounded so hateful, but I meant it. And then Biden hires her too after all this, and it's just like, honestly, I feel like the devil works hard, but Jen Psaki works harder. The thing she has had the mental capacity to come out and just like day after day like lie about major fucking things with a straight face and actually like be like, no, it's wrong of you to say such a lie. I mean, she's something else. That's really all I have to say. She went to college and then all of a sudden it's just like, oh, she works for John Kerry. It's like, huh? Like, it's weird. So I'm gonna put in clips that I found unsettling or very telling of her behavior now, like just like a sign that she's always been this crazy fucking lying bitch. I will date them the best I can and put in as much as I can find, because I'm having a really hard time for whatever reason. Google, YouTube doesn't want this looked up or found, or maybe there just really isn't anything, but it's hard to believe when she had all those very, very prominent positions for so long too. You would think there'd be more accessible. I don't know. So here's that.
As the campaign, you're speaking for the Obama campaign right now, ready to apologize for those words.
Look, I think that statement is traditional distraction politics by the Romney campaign. This wasn't a random person at a Dunkin' Donuts. The problem for Mitt Romney is there's a lot of unanswered questions.
Before you make an accusation like that, shouldn't there be more investigation when you start raising the possibility, in her words, of committing a felony, potentially, which is a felony? That's a serious accusation.
This is a case that's very much in Mitt Romney's camp. They can release more documents documents. They can release tax returns.
Well, look, Wolf, we have nothing to do with the ad. We're focused on our race. We're focused on going to Colorado tomorrow, and that's where we're at from the campaign side.
Do you want to have inaccurate ads, inaccurate information out there? If this was coming from a Romney super PAC, you guys would be all over this.
Well, look, I mean, and the president goes out there and he's talking about the campaign. He's talking about the differences between himself and Mitt Romney. That's what this race is about. We can't speak to the super PAC ads. We don't have anything to do with them, so I don't have anything further on the
Because it is pretty serious when you're not doing it, but the super PAC is making this allegation that Mitt Romney was responsible for the death of this woman when that's simply not true.
Well, Wolf, I wasn't involved with making the ad. No one on the campaign was involved with making the ad. So we'll let the super PAC speak to that.
I want you to respond because there have been false.
Let me just go back here. Jen, are you suggesting that you cannot be certain that Mitt Romney was not took any part whatsoever in this poor woman's death?
I wasn't involved with making the ad. No one from the campaign was involved with making the ad.
No.
I don't have any more specifics on the ad.
This is typical. We have the most powerful man in the world. The President of the United States takes no responsibility for his campaign, no responsibility for his PACs, no responsibility for his cabinet members who are out there raising money for this PAC so this ad can run, takes no responsibility for the pain and suffering this country is suffering. The people in this country are suffering with the high unemployment, the loss of homes, falling into poverty. The only thing he takes responsibility for is the businesses other people are building. This is a disgraceful, despicable, dishonest ad, and if the President of the United States shame on himself, he should immediately reject it outright.
You know, I have to say it's ironic hearing you say that since you support Mitt Romney, who's questioned whether the president's American or whether he supports freedom. So there's a lot of things that have been thrown around in this campaign, including from Mitt Romney himself. So we can speak to that, too, and I'm happy to.
I think there was a memo that we must have missed from the Barack Obama's campaign that said, listen, all Democrats, become aware, alert. We have nothing to run on. We have no record. We do not have any ideas. What we must do is go Chicago style.
I'm happy to speak to what we're running on if you want to give me a moment.
Smear this candidate, say anything. It doesn't matter if it's dishonest. It doesn't matter how awful and ugly it is. Be as mean-spirited as you can, because that's the only way we can win.
Well, what we're running on is protecting and standing up for the middle class, making sure that they have a fighter in the White House. As we know from a report we saw last week, a nonpartisan report, Mitt Romney's tax plan would raise taxes by $2,000 on middle-class families. I think that's what people are talking about at their kitchen table.
Oppressed, imprisoned, or otherwise harassed.
Otherwise harassed. Does that include those who may have been targeted, harassed, imprisoned, or otherwise whatever by the United States government?
I think you're familiar with our Free the Press campaign, Matt.
Fair enough. So it does not include those who might have been harassed.
We highlight, as we often do, where we see issues with media freedom around the world.
Right, I understand. But you would say that you don't. The U.S. does not believe that it has a problem with press freedom, or if it does, that it's not nearly as severe as the problems in other countries.
We do not. I think we can look at many of the problems around.
So, overall, in general, the administration does not regard attempting to prosecute American journalists as an infringement of press freedom?
I'm not sure what you're
Well,
referring
there's several
to.
cases that are out there right now. The one that springs to mind is the James Risen case, where the Justice Department is attempting to prosecute. You don't. I just want to be clear. I'm not trying to.
Well, Matt, obviously,
I just want to know if you regard that as an infringement on press freedom or not, and I suspect that you do not, but I want to make sure that that's the case.
as you know, and I'll of course refer to the Department of Justice, but the leaking of classified information is in a separate category. What we're talking about here, as you all know, and unfortunately we have to talk about on a regular basis here, is the targeting of journalists, the arrests, the imprisonment for simply exercising their ability to tell a story.
Right. I understand that, and I'm sure myself and all of my colleagues were very appreciative of that. But the reporters in question here have not leaked the information; they've simply published it. So, is it correct then that you don't regard that as an infringement of press freedom?
We don't.
Okay.
I don't have anything more to say on that case.
Okay.
Do we have a new topic?
State Department. Remember, Hillary Clinton was the Secretary of State before John Kerry. Jen Psaki is now the spokeswoman there. She worked in the Obama White House. Now she represents John Kerry. But you think she might do her homework and expect a question about Hillary Clinton?
Can you, off the top of your head, identify one tangible achievement that resulted from the last QDDR?
I am certain that those who were here at the time, who worked hard on that effort, could point out one.
That should not be a surprise question, should it?
No, it shouldn't have been a surprising question. And having an answer like that, that's one for the reels for Republicans, I think, certainly, who are going to be criticizing her.
That's right. But it is, you know, she works for Kerry now, and there is this tension about Kerry versus Clinton, and he wants to be the big man on the State Department's campus. So in some way, she's doing her job. And we all remember Jen Psaki on the campaign trail in 2008, right? You would go to Jen Psaki to figure out, you know.
You don't think there's some old Obama-Hillary tensions in that answer, do you?
So that's what, that's what the idea I'm floating. You know, that's
Hangover 7. Let's carry that one over.
Do you have any reaction to the court's decision dropping the charges against former President Mubarak?
Well, generally, we continue to believe that upholding impartial standards of accountability will advance the political consensus on which Egypt's long-term stability and economic growth depends. But beyond that, I would refer you to the Egyptian government for any further comment.
So you don't criticize at all?
What does that mean?
It means that in general, we believe
sounds
that
to me like it
courts
means
should
nothing.
In general, we believe that impartial standards and the justice system should work as planned.
Yeah.
But I don't have any specific comment.
But did
impartial?
I don't have any more specifics on
but
that.
wow, I don't understand that at all. What does that mean? You believe that? Of course you do. But were those standards upheld in this case?
I don't have any specific comment on the case. I'd point you to the Egyptian government case.
Can you see if can we ask for push your people a little bit harder? Because I mean, you call for accountability and transparency all the time from any number of governments, and so if no one is held to account. If no one is being held accountable for what happened, it would seem to me that you would have a problem with that. And
If there's more we have to say, Matt, we will make sure you all know.
but I mean, what you have said what you said says nothing. I mean, it just it's like saying, well, we support the right of people to breathe. Well,
If
that's
we
great,
have
but
a
if they
further
can't
comments
breathe,
on the case, I will make sure all of you have it.
okay.
Aren't you a little bit annoyed that the person who was elected by the Egyptian people, Mercy, is languishing in prison while the person who is accused of murdering hundreds of people is actually out on
I
prison
appreciate your
innocent?
efforts, Saeed. I don't have anything
No, the
further
reason
on this
the
case.
reason we ask
Saeed,
this
I'm
is
sorry.
because
We're gonna have to move on.
Sure.
Thank you, everyone. That Egypt one is ridiculous.
Back with me, Jen Psaki, former communications director for the Obama White House. What do you make of Hillary Clinton's statement? What do you make of her commitment to continue to be involved in the process, calling herself a member of the resistance?
Well, good for her for trying to channel her loss into something positive. I do think if you look at her comments of what she said about, it would have been guaranteed she would have won on October 27th, we don't really know that. Was sexism a factor? Yes. Was Comey a factor? Was Russia a factor? Absolutely. But I've watched a lot of focus groups. I've looked at a lot of polling over the years, and the perception of her was baked into the cake for about 10 years. I would encourage any Democrat running this year, whether they're a challenger or they're a vulnerable incumbent, to look at the focus groups that Priorities USA did. They did them in Wisconsin and Michigan. And they talked to Obama-Trump voters. And what came out of them, those focus groups, was something very alarming for Democrats, which is the perception that we are fighting for rich people, we're fighting for the 1%. And if we don't change what we're doing, if we don't listen more, we're going to keep losing. And I think that was also a factor in the race. And the fact that there are many Republicans who are opposing moving forward with the investigations, who are holding back information, should be perplexing to people, because Putin is not a registered Republican.
Right.
He wants to create confusion in the United States. So moving forward, that's absolutely right. Now, we do know from the intelligence agencies and the assessment that they were trying to help elect Donald Trump. So factually, there's no question it was a factor. We probably will never know.
That doesn't mean they won't turn on Donald Trump when the conditions are right.
What we need to do is this.
We need to go back and look at what happened with the Clinton Foundation and Uranium One and those ties.
Why?
And
We're
we're
talking
talking
about moving
investigated
forward.
before, right? That
Look
hasn't
at
been
it
investigated before.
holistically. We know that the Russians are bad actors and they don't wish us well. So let's agree on that and agree, yes, it should be investigated.
That makes no sense. But let me.
Of course it makes sense.
Let me
Common
also
sense.
let me just say this.
Look, I think Joe Biden, what we saw in that debate was that he was rusty and out of practice. And it turns out to run for office and be an effective politician, whatever your political stripes are, you have to engage with people. And he hasn't been doing that a lot. And I think we saw that play out.
So you're not yet at the this is an emergency, it's time to panic mode.
No, I mean, like anybody who's worked for politicians or elected officials, you know, I was the one who had to go to the spin room after the first Democratic debate in 2012 when Barack Obama had his clock cleaned by Mitt Romney. And, you know, that night, no one was calling for him to drop out, but it was terrible. His performance was terrible. And we survived and he still won. You know, debates are important. They certainly put people on the map, as they have in many ways with Kamala Harris, but they're usually not totally determinative. So I think in some ways it was a blessing for Joe Biden because his team has been telling him, you know, this is not going to be, you're not going to walk away with this. People are going to go after you. This is going to be hard. This is going to be bloody. And he saw that and experienced it, and in many ways I think it was probably a good wake-up call for him. We'll see how he does in the next few debates. I mean, in a debate, I mean, Kamala Harris practiced that as her team put out, which I thought was weird that they did that, but you know, sometimes it seems canned and it seems over-practiced, like Eric Swalwell's Pass the Torch, or even some of what Kirsten Gillibrand was trying to do. It's a little forced and then it doesn't work. So you really have to, it has to be kind of, you have to strike a magic moment for it to be, you to be prepared to take advantage of a moment and to actually do it. And that's more rare than I think people think. And the Reagan's a good example. You know, Kamala Harris, we'll see how lasting it is, but in recent history, that's a good example. But it's harder than people. And seeing the moment in the moment and making it look natural. That's why I thought it was so weird that they said she'd been practicing it, because it was like, you want people to think she just had that moment. But
well, the other thing too, and I know this from being on cable news, is like if someone had interrupted her or stepped on that moment, it could have
gone
really
away.
Messed it up. Yeah,
could have gone away, exactly. And if Biden had responded in a different way, it could have gone away.
My time's up.
Right, that was weird.
Please applaud.
But he also kind of it was like impersonal. Like she was talking and he wasn't taking it in. He could have walked over to her. He could have, I don't know. I mean, there are things he could have done that would have diffused it as well.
Well, and
how do you bridge a divide like that?
Well, it's not going to happen overnight, and he tells that to us all the time. But our expectation and hope is that he can lead by example, by reaching across the aisle, by engaging with Republicans as well as Democrats, not just here in Washington. All of the work of the American people doesn't just happen here, but to mayors and governors, to people who didn't vote for him. And what he's pledged is that he will govern for all Americans, and he expects the same of all of us.
That is that. Let me know in the comments below what you think about any and all of that. And again, please, if you know anything else about Jen Psaki, I'm a curious kitty cat right now, and I need to know more about this woman because I think it's weird that I can't find shit. So if you know anything, please ease my mind a little, or tell me if you don't know shit about her either and can't find shit. Maybe I'm just stupid, I don't know, but I can't find shit. Thank you so much for watching. Give this video a like if you did, in fact, like it. Let me know what kind of videos you would like me to do in these kind of times where I don't quite feel like just sitting and bashing Biden in every single video. So give me any ideas, maybe like anyone else you want me to talk about, or like try to find shit on, or I don't know, just give me ideas of anything you would like to see me talk about, rant about, go on in tangents about, and find fucking weird ass fucking footage of. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you'll see me next time. Bye guys.